Welcome to my condensed but comprehensive guide on the Season 2 PvP meta for World of Warcraft, The War Within, patch 11.1. I'll walk you through how each specialization, DPS, healer, and tank stacks up in the rated PvP scene, 2 vs 2 arenas, 3 vs 3 arenas, rated battlegrounds, RBGs, and solo shuffle. Whether you're a seasoned PvPer or just entering the fray, I'll explain in simple language the top performing specs, their strengths, weaknesses, and a general sense of why they appear at their respective tiers. Season 2 in The War Within has brought class tuning, PvP talent reworks, crowd control changes, and new tier set bonuses. These factors have influenced a fairly burst-heavy meta, favoring specs that either unleash lethal kill windows or maintain unstoppable sustained pressure. Meanwhile, healers need strong responses to keep allies alive through deadly damage spikes. Mobility remains important. If you can't reach or escape your target quickly, you risk falling behind in the kill race. I'll break down each role by tier, S, A, B, and C, based on overall performance and consistency. Remember, a tier list isn't gospel. Any spec can climb to high rating with enough skill and synergy. That said, knowing the meta helps you pick a spec that won't feel like swimming upstream. Let's dive in. DPS Tier List. DPS are the frontliners of kill pressure. In patch 11.1, we're seeing heavy representation of caster specs that combine strong burst and multi-target pressure, along with a handful of mobile melee builds that refuse to be denied. Below is my breakdown of each tier, including short notes on their strengths, weaknesses, and general PvP approach. S tier DPS. First, Affliction Warlock. Affliction Warlocks are all about damage over time, DOT pressure, whittling down entire enemy teams with corruption, agony, unstable affliction, and more. In a meta that punishes mistakes quickly, their ability to spread rot damage is huge. While healers scramble to keep everyone up, Warlocks can set up kills with instant casts and avoid direct confrontation via Demonic Gateway, Soul Burn teleports, and strong defensives like Dark Pact. Once DOTs are rolling, you can't safely dispel them, thanks to unstable affliction backlash, and ignoring them means the entire team melts. Why S tier? Sustained pressure and above average durability. DOT focused damage fits well with Season 2, which has short CC durations but high bursts. Warlocks can keep ticking even if stunned briefly or forced to reposition. Outlast in 2 vs 2, excel in 3 vs 3 with Shadow Play, Lock plus Shadow Priest, and dominate RBG teamfights with multi-target DOTs. Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest combine multi-dot damage, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word, Pain, with surprisingly strong single-target burst. They also have valuable utility, Mass Dispel to remove critical immunities, Silence to shut down enemy healers, and off healing that can rescue allies. In 11.1, they're deadly in short kill windows thanks to Dark Ascension and a more flexible design outside of the old Void Form cycles. Why S tier? They can do it all. Deal high damage, off heal, and bring game-changing spells, e.g. Purge, Fear, Mass Dispel. They aren't super squishy either because of Dispersion, Vampiric Embrace, and Shield talents. Extremely effective in 2 vs 2 extended fights, unstoppable in 3 vs 3 wizard cleaves, and top RBG choice, blanket doties, group support. Fury Warrior. Fury Warriors are all about melee pressure and self-sustain. Instead of relying on a big single burst window, they repeatedly bash opponents with Rampage while healing themselves through Bloodthirst and other talents. This makes them a challenge for both melee and ranged classes. Once a Fury Warrior connects, it's hard to peel them off or kill them outright. Why S tier? High uptime, lots of self-healing, and multiple gap closers make them hard to stop in a fast environment. They don't have the powerful Mortal Strike effect that ARMS does, but their relentless damage plus survivability fits Season 2. Good in 2 vs 2 with a healer, they just outlast enemies. Strong in 3 vs 3 cleaves like Turbo, Fury plus Enhancement Shaman. In RBGs, they provide stable frontline damage. Subtlety Rogue. Sub-rogues are the ultimate control-based burst spec. Even with shorter CC durations in 11.1, they can still chain stuns with Cheap Shot, Kidney Shot, and Sap to create kill windows. Under Shadow Dance, a sub-rogue's coordinated burst with a partner can one-shot a target. YS Tier. Masterful CC, unparalleled setup potential, and top-tier synergy in classic comps like RMP, Rogue, Mage, Priest. Even post-CC changes, a skilled sub-rogue can stun-lock a key target into oblivion. Thrive in 2 versus 2 if they can force resets. Excel in 3 versus 3 RMP. And in RBGs, they shine more at base objectives than in team fights. Assassination Rogue. Assassination trades sub-stunlock focus for bleed and poison pressure. With lethal DOTs like Garrote and Rupture, plus wound poison to cut healing, Assassination slowly grinds targets down. Add Vendetta for a big single target damage spike, and you have a methodical killer that's hard to peel in long fights. YS Tier. Unhealable pressure from bleeds, plus the standard Rogue CC kit. They also apply strong healing reduction naturally. Pair with a healer in 2 versus 2 to outlast. Good with specs that support or add burst in 3 versus 3, and can hold their own in RBGs by killing priority targets. A tier DPS. Marksmanship Hunter. Hunters are all about big bursts with aimed shot and rapid fire if they can stay still to unload. They have 200 tools like Freezing Trap and Concussive Shot. The catch is, if you stay on them, their cast times for aimed shot can be easily interrupted. Why A tier? Highest burst in the game if left alone. Vulnerable under pressure, but deadly from range. Popular in Cupid Cleave, plus Ret Paladin. Good in RBGs if the team peels for them. Beast Mastery Hunter. BM Hunters are almost the opposite of Their pets do most of the damage, so they stay mobile. They rely on kill command and consistent DPS, using Freezing Trap or Intimidation Stun for CEC. Why A tier? Steady, uninterruptible damage. Less bursty than but harder to shut down. 2 versus 2 with a healer is classic. 3 versus 3 in jungle comps. BM plus, Feral plus healer. And they're fine in RBGs thanks to ranged pet pressure. Demonology Warlock. Demo Warlocks are all about summoning multiple demons and bursting under Demonic Tyrant. They have strong CC, Fear, Axe Toss, Spell Lock, and Warlock survivability tools. Why A tier? Good teamfight presence, decent personal tankiness, and big bursts if left alone to ramp up. Good in 3 versus 3, e.g. Demon Cleave with a Havoc DH. Okay in 2 versus 2, but overshadowed by Affliction Sustained Pressure. Good in RBGs for AoE Demon Spam. Destruction Warlock. Destro Warlocks use Chaos Bolt to nuke targets, plus utility from Fear, Mortal Coil, and Shadow Fury. If you can't see or interrupt them, they'll unload huge damage on unsuspecting players. Why A tier? Big single target burst, strong control, slightly overshadowed by Affliction's Rot style, but still deadly in the right comp. Use D. 3 versus 3 Wizard Cleaves with mages or shadow priests, and super scary in RBG teamfights if protected. Windwalker Monk. Windwalkers have incredible mobility and burst AoE, e.g. Fists of Fury, Spinning Crane Kick, Storm, Earth, and Fire. They can wipe out grouped enemies, but are somewhat squishy under focused fire. Why A tier? Great at jumping on squishy targets, resetting, then re-engaging. Good in 2 versus 2 for short, explosive matches, or in 3 versus 3 with other melees, e.g. WW plus Warrior. Havoc Demon Hunter. Havoc DHs combine smooth, consistent DPS with strong mobility, Fell Rush, Vengeful Retreat, and self-healing from soul fragments. They may not have the biggest one shot, but their damage is relentless. Why A tier? Hard to peel off, can chase any target, and self-sustain can outlast other melees. Good in 2 versus 2 with a healer, well known for Demon Cleave in 3 versus 3 with Demo Warlock, flexible pick in RBGs for quick target swaps. Survival Hunter. Survival blends melee and ranged, using bombs, harpoon, and traps for control. Less common than BM or but can surprise with unpredictable burst and dotting from Serpent Sting. Why A tier? Versatile. Partial range tools plus melee combos can catch players off guard. found in Thug Cleave on Survival plus Rogue, or Jungle Cleave on Survival plus Feral, often focusing on spread pressure and coordinated kills. B tier DPS. Arms Warrior. Arms Warriors have the Mortal Strike debuff, reducing healing on their target. They do decent damage, but lack sustained self-healing compared to Fury. Why B tier? Good in many comps, but overshadowed by Fury's survivability. Mortal Strike is still useful though. TSG, Arms plus DK, or Arms plus Windwalker are well-known 3 vs 3 cleaves. 2 vs 2 with a healer can still push high rating, especially for players who like the healing reduction effect. Retribution Paladin. Ret Paladins had a big rework recently and now have huge burst with Avenging Wrath, plus group support, freedom, sack, off heals. But they're more vulnerable to being kited, and after the rework nerfs, they're a bit lower than their peak. Why B tier? Still have wings-based burst and can save allies, but not unstoppable chase. Good with another melee in 3 vs 3, solid pick in 2 vs 2 with a healer. In RBGs, a well-timed bubble can turn the tide. Enhancement Shaman. Ench has big bursts from Ascendants, Stormstrike procs, and big elemental blasts if talented, plus Shaman utility, Purge, Grounding Totem, Wind Shear. But they're easy to train by melee. Why B tier? Terrifying kill threat if not peeled, but can fall over if caught without Astral Shift. Turbo Cleave, N plus Warrior plus Healer, is still popular in 3 vs 3. Fire Mage. Fire Mages use Combustion for bursts, plus Dragon's Breath and Polymorph to coordinate kills. After crowd control and damage tuning changes, Fire is still scary, but not as dominant. Why B tier? They can still set up kills quickly, especially in RMP style comps, but are more easily shut down if pressured. 3 vs 3 in RMP, or 2 vs 2 with classes that help them land CC. Frost Mage. Frost's big deal is kiting and control through slows and snares, but in a fast-paced meta, their damage windows can be line-of-sighted or interrupted, leaving them behind higher burst casters. Why B tier? Superb control, but bursts are more telegraphed, still good at preventing melee from connecting. Wizard Cleaves in 3 vs 3 or a dampening playstyle in 2 vs 2 with a healer. Elemental Shaman. LA Shamans can one-shot targets with Stormkeeper Lightning Bolts, Lava Burst procs, and Earth Shock, and bring Purge, Grounding Totem, and Thunderstorm. If enemies focus on them though, LA can fall over quickly. Why B tier? Huge bursts but limited defensives besides Astral Shift. Often seen in LSD, Lock, Shaman, Druid, or Thunder, LE plus Warrior plus Healer. Devastation Evoker. Devastation Evokers have hover mobility and high damage from disintegrate or empowered breath attacks, but their 25-yard range puts them closer to danger. They can do big AoE bursts if protected. Why B tier? Good AoE potential, moderate single target, but short range is risky in a high burst environment. A potential for creative combos in 3v3 or RBGs if the team peels for them. C tier DPS. C-tier specs are generally weak in Season 2. They can still win, but it's tough. Frost and Unholy Death. Knight, DKs lack mobility and get kited in this meta, but they can do crazy damage in small windows. Unholy's Pet Army and Frost's AoE bombs can destroy in RBGs, but in Arena, they're easily controlled. Outlaw Rogue. Decent damage and cooldown resets, but overshadowed by sub-stun bursts or assassinations bleeds. Arcane Mage. Great mobility, but big arcane blasts or barrages are easy to shut down or dodge. Lacks the kill pressure of fire or the control of frost. Balanced Druid. Boomkins are squishy if focused, and in a season full of lethal melees and better casters, they don't stand out. Augmentation Evoker, a support spec that buffs allies' damage, but in competitive PvP, it's often better to bring a pure DPS or a true healer. Section 2, Healer Tier List. Healers keep their teams alive against bursty damage. In 11.1, raw healing throughput, crowd control avoidance, and cooldown timing are key. Let's see which healers can handle the pressure. S tier healer. Restoration Druid. Resto Druids win with heal over time spells and unmatched mobility. In a meta with short kill windows, having multiple HOTs already up can save teammates through stuns or silence. They also have Cyclone for crowd control and shapeshifting to avoid certain CC. Why S tier? Preemptive healing is king right now, and Resto's ability to reposition quickly and handle multi-target pressure is top-notch. Works in any bracket or comp, 2 vs 2 with Warlocks, 3 vs 3, RMP, various cleaves, or RBG groups for AoE healing. A tier healers. Holy Paladin. Holy Paladins are known for strong single-target heals and defensive cooldowns. Divine Shield, Blessing of Sacrifice, Blessing of Protection. They're a staple pick in many comps that need direct, reliable healing with the added bonus of off damage, via Judgment, and stuns, Hammer of Justice. Why A tier? Great at keeping a focused target alive, tanky with plate armor, and can use Bubble to avoid lethal CC. Top choice with melee cleaves in 3 vs 3 or classic 2 vs 2 combos, Warrior H-Pal, DK H-Pal. B tier healer, Mistweaver Monk. Mistweavers have tons of throughput, can top off a dying teammate in seconds. They have mobility from roll and transcendence, plus life cocoon as a shield. They're weak to stuns or heavy melee trains. Why B tier? If left to free cast, a Mistweaver can absorb an enemy's burst. Good in 2 vs 2 for dampening games. Pairs well with many 3 vs 3 comps that allow them to reposition and avoid chain CC. Discipline Priest. Discipline combines healing and damage through atonement. They can reduce damage with pain suppression or power word, barrier, and pressure enemies with schism boosted attacks. They have tools like Mass Dispel to remove major immunities and Purge the Wicked, spreading DOT. Why B tier? Strong with bursty teams, can finish kills by adding damage. Classic in 3 vs 3 RMP, viable in 2 vs 2 with DPS, also decent in RBGs with barrier helping big group fights. C tier healer. Preservation Evoker. Preservation excels at AoE healing through powered up spells, Dream Breath, Spirit Bloom, and Rewind, reversing recent damage. They have moderate mobility, hover, but 25-yard range puts them too close to the action and vulnerable to multiple melees. Why C tier? Can be super effective in clumped fights, but forced to stand in the front lines. 3 vs 3 or RBG teams that peel for them can let them pump huge healing. In 2 vs 2, they're okay if they manage positioning. Holy Priest. Holy Priests do big direct heals and have major cooldowns like Guardian Spirit to save an ally from death. They also have group utility, Mass Dispel, Psychic Scream, but they're more vulnerable to focus than a Disciplined Priest and lack strong DR tools like Pain Suppression. Why B tier? Good throughput but can be swapped to and killed if caught without fade or defensive. Often overshadowed by Disc in 3 vs 3, though still respectable if you prefer large burst heals and Guardian Spirit. Tank Tier List, rated Battlegrounds. Tanks aren't part of most arena comps, but in RBGs they're vital for flag runs and node defenses. A tier tanks. Protection Warrior. Strengths, unmatched durability, team peels, decent mobility. Key tools, shield block, ignore pain, defensive stance, heroic leap, intervene, spell reflection, shockwave. Role, primary flag carrier. Hard to bring down if backed by a healer. Also great for holding choke points with shockwave. Vengeance Demon Hunter. Strengths, unparalleled mobility, self-heals, utility sigils, key tools, Fell Rush, Infernal Strike, Glide, Soul Cleave, Sigil of Chains, Sigil of Silence. Role, speed flag runs, pack the flag and be back at base before anyone knows what happened. B tier tank. Protection Paladin. Strengths, strong mitigation cooldowns, off heals. Weakness, slower than Warrior DH, no leaps. Role, situational node defender or backup flag runner, your bubble, and lay on hands save critical moments. C tier tanks. Blood Death Knight, Death Grip self-heals, kiteable and less group utility, Guardian Druid, good mobility and bear form, but lacks peel tools. Brewmaster Monk, stagger mechanics, but burst damage can outpace stagger. Season 2 of The War Within is a bursty PvP season with constant changes to crowd control durations and class tuning. This means specs that can quickly capitalize on short stuns or maintain pressure even while absorbing or dodging enemy CC are on top. Casters like Affliction Warlock and Shadow Priest are crushing it by either rotting entire teams or combining DOTs with burst. Melee, Rogues, and Fury Warriors, for example, are thriving on mobility, control, or self-healing. Healers who can preempt damage, Resto Druid, or provide big defensive cooldowns, Holy Paladin, are above the rest, but every healer can shine with the right comp. For objective-based PvP, Prot Warriors and Vengeance DHs are the go-to tanks in RBGs, where flag carrying and node defense is key. Other tanks can work, but come with more limitations. As always, skill and synergy can trump the tier list. Some B- or C tier specs can be unstoppable in the right player's hands or with the right team comp. Keep an eye out for Blizzard's mid-season balance changes. One patch can make an underdog spec a contender or knock a top-tier spec down a notch. If you want to climb faster or need professional help to get your desired PvP rating, check out ChaosBoost, my game-boosting service. At ChaosBoost, you can buy PvP boosts for Arena or RBG rating or even schedule coaching sessions with multi-gladiators who can teach you class mastery, matchup knowledge, and advanced strategies. Sometimes just having a reliable partner or mentor is all you need to get over that next skill hurdle. Done. That's it for this Season 2 PvP tier list for WoW The War Within, patch 11.1. Hope you found it helpful in choosing your class and your playstyle, whether you're building an arena team, solo shuffling, or queuing RBGs to carry flags and nodes. I'm Chaos, be chaotic, and if you need a hand or a boost, remember ChaosBoost is here for you. See you in game.